Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. My name is Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action once again here live at SimPlay Motorsport. And just going to turn a couple of this. That's why. There we go. That's why I can hear myself. There's always something in the background, just trying to catch me out. But welcome to SimPlay Motorsport, and the race night tonight is based on the Pro-Ams. And what a night's worth of racing we have ahead of us here, back at the Hungaroring. A kind of overcasty looking Hungaroring here. Obviously, it's meant to be looking a lot better for tomorrow. It was meant to be rain lurking around, but obviously that is gone. Excuse me, as I just wanted to get a quick drink there. But we are live and ready to go racing here at the Hungaroring. A 1:44.3 set by Vitus, and we are home for Benny Varga, who's come out on track. Ideal timing for that. This is his home race here at the Hungaroring, and as you can see, he has got some pace already. And yeah, should be interesting to see how well he gets on this evening. But like I said, it is a Pro-Am night. And like I said, we are live and ready to go. So first things first, let's have a run through of the championship standings. Obviously, before we get through that, the way tonight works is that we'll be racing for a sprint and a feature race here this evening. First things first, the sprint, that'll be reverse of the championship order. Obviously, it's going to be split from the bronze and silver class, and how we determine that is everyone who's in the red is in the bronze category, and everyone who's in grey is in the silver category. So the silvers will start to the front, but reverse of the championship order. A flat-out 15-minute race, followed by then a qualifying session that will then lead into the feature race itself, which is an hour and 10 minutes. The qualifying only 10 minutes as well, so not a lot of time for these guys to get a lap time on the board. As Benny Varga comes and makes a few final tweaks and changes. Who else we got here tonight? Old Sim Racer, the block after a very solid round at Barcelona, looking a little bit off circuit there. Gabino making a return back once again. Bettison, Fandango, we've got there. Real Wheel as well is here. Andrew Smith, Tucker, Unsworth, all these guys out on circuit here this evening. And in the chat, we've got Sam Greaves. Vitus is going to walk this tonight. He is leagues ahead. I wouldn't say for sure. He may be in the 1:44.3s, but anything can still happen here, Sam. Obviously, you're in a Lexus, so I think you're going to struggle quite a bit here, I'm afraid. And Tips in the chat, nice to see you in the chat as well, buddy. Championship standings looks like this. It's Langley leading away ahead of Vitus, only 65 points separating there, with Fandango still in P3, who we're on board with at the minute. Then it's Benny Varga, who would like a good point scoring position at his home circuit. Then we've got Kneebone in P5, Flores in P6, 7th is Unswift, 8th is Wolfsky, 9th is Greaves, 10th is Ritchie, with Old Sim Racer in 11th, Aberdeen in 12th, with Craig in 13th, Taylor in 14th, Lee 15th, with Gabino in 16th, Saunders in 17th, De Block in 18th, Bolton 19th, with Argent in 20th. We've got Gary Clarble 21st, 22nd is Waste, with Smith in 23rd. Williams 24th, with Johnson in 25th. Bell 26th, with Archer 27th. Williams in 28th, with Bettison 29th. Best in 30th, with Atherton in 31st. Wheel 32nd. Tucker 33rd. KLF in 34th. Marshall 35th. Goodwill in 36th. Stork 37th. Dempsey 38th. Andrews 39th. Marsden in 40th, and then Roy bringing up the rear. And those are your championship standings for the teams. It looks like this. 4Q Motorsport still leading away, but only a 25 point gap separating No Gas and No Glory. In that P3 position now, we got Cloud9 Racing. Team Audio Sports sat in P4, with Greasy Bandits Racing in P5. P6 is NLR Racing, with SimPlay Racing sat in P7. Soldal Racing P8, with Team Murloc P9. Black and Blue Racing in P10 with OWR Racing in 11th place position. 12th is Lexi's Industries with 2C's Racing in 13th place. 14th is Rapid Rabbits in the Rapid Rabbits in GT with Team GBR in 15th place position. Quantum in 16th with OGR in 17th. Team BSR in 18th place position, and Wakasaki Racing in that 19th place position. Sangree's in the chat saying the block for race 1. That's my prediction done, as he's going to be starting near the front of the pack anyway, and he goes a little bit quicker, but he's still a second off the overall pace. And what can Varga do? But that is your championship standings. We are pretty much up towards the halfway stage of the season. Lexus is pants. In a nutshell around this circuit, yes, Sam, I totally have to agree. Good evening, everyone, and good luck tonight, says Peaceful Stepdad. Funny enough, I was just in the Lexus about half an hour ago, testing around Brands Hatch, and another circuit it tends to be quite rubbish at. So, yeah, I'm feeling your pain at the minute, Sam. But let's hear you guys in the chat. Currently 16 people in the chat at the minute. Let's hear from you guys. Would love to have a bit of a chit chat with you guys and just overall chat of this season. Regarding the BOP, I want to see actually which cars look good and what don't look good. Where is the BOP? BOP in use. That's for Mizano. So, on this circuit, the cars that have been heavily bopped here, pants there as well. Evening to Beto, nice to see you in the chat, Beto. The McLaren 720S GT3 is the heaviest bopped around this circuit, with the Audi R8, funny enough, is now in that second place position, with the Porsche 992, with the Ferrari 296. There's the Lamborghini Huracan, followed by the BMW M4, then the Aston Martin Vantage. They're the first ones that have the positive weight, while you've got then the Mercedes AMG, the Mustang, the NSX, the GTR, and the Bentley all on minus as well. And those are all of the data that they've got here on LFM. The Lexus, I think, there I see it, it's on the most, it's on the least, and it's minus 40. But obviously, being one of the more older cars and barely used, it's less likely to get a run in. Old Sim Racing now coming into the final corner in the top 12 at the minute. And Gary Clarble in the chat. Evening, folks, and good luck indeed. Best of luck to all the drivers here this evening. Let's see if anyone driver stats. Let's have a look at some driver stats. See if anyone is here and coming up to a milestone. Let's have a look. Starts. I don't see anyone coming up to. Well, Friedman on tomorrow night will be on his 100th appearance in race 2, so we'll know that one. Don't think there's any others that are obvious at the minute. Not that I can see. O'Reilly's 2 away from getting his 25th race win. Pole position, Matt is 1 away from 25. Arjun, if Arjun puts it on pole tonight, that would be his 10th pole position. So there's a little milestone. Any, what's this, podiums we have here? Podiums. And again, nothing obvious that I can see there. Yeah, so still no real drivers on a milestone this week. But we come to the end of that session, and in the end, it is Vitus who sets the pace. Benny Varga is currently 3/10 off, and Audio Sport, one of our fantastic sponsors in the chat, saying good evening, everyone. Kelly Davis is joining us on the track here this evening. It's a weird blend of B. Craig's Murloc car. Oh no, sorry, that's Tucker's Murloc car and KLF's Audio Sport colours, or BSR colours. Tip says, hope the drivers have as much fun as I did last night. And I'm pretty sure these guys will do. It's going to be a good night's worth of racing as Varga comes in to do a practice pit stop, which is very important because they will have to perform a pit stop not just in the sprint but also in the feature. So we are getting ourselves ready for this one. Right, so let's get a pole going for you guys. The reverse grid has P. Williams starting on pole position. And like I said, the block, though, with a good qualifier, with a good round at Catalonia, has actually put himself quite further down in this. And obviously, the way that the Hungaroring is, it's, as we like to describe it, it is Monaco without the walls, which I would arguably say is spot on. It's a very difficult circuit to overtake, and it's very difficult to overtake, and you really do have to hope that people make a mistake, or you try and capitalize in the pit stops and try and use the clean air to your advantage. This sprint race should be very interesting indeed. Right, there is your pole for your sprint race winner. So get your votes in on who you think is going to win that. The block isn't going to win this one either, because he's ended up back in pit lane, and we've got 32 cars in total here this evening. A lot of drivers with us this evening, so it's going to be interesting indeed. And I said it's nice to have a solid group of drivers in with us this evening. Guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified. Going out on a limb and Argent with a sprint win, says Mike Matthews. And if I'm honest, mate, I think that's wishful thinking, that is. With Argent being about mid, where is he? I'm trying to have a look. He's 5th place. So I think it's still going to be difficult for him to get through there. But we'll see how he gets on. Skunky, nice to see you in the chat there, my friend Skunky. How are you doing, buddy? As we're about to get underway and racing here, so get your votes in as well. Bert in the chat saying, hi Mike. Mike, you made a friend. Did you enjoy Silverstone? He says in the chat. Did you enjoy Silverstone? Well, obviously he took his Logitech and his sim rig with him. Do we guys like the Hungaroring? That's the question. Do we like this circuit? Is it somewhere up there for you guys, or is it a circuit that you're not a massive fan of? That's the question. What are we expecting from this first race? New to the channel, nice to meet you, Bert. Welcome to the channel, and I hope you enjoy the action here for the Pro-Ams. Obviously, the faster boys, the pros, will be out on circuit tomorrow, bringing you all the action for those guys. So make sure you tune in for that one as well, as they now come into the final sector, getting themselves ready to go. So a lot of FBR towards the front of this grid, which is a reminder as well, if you do want extra practice running side by side with other drivers, the FBR League hang on to a brilliant championship on a Sunday called the Sunday Shakedown, and myself and a few other of the SimPlay boys go over and do a little bit of practice over there with them, and definitely a time to enjoy. Skunky says he loves this circuit. Well, let's see if the rest of the Pro-Am boys agree with you, because we are about to go racing here at the Hungaroring for the first time this evening. P. Williams versus M. Johnson. Who's going to come out on top? And we are green and go here at the Hungaroring, and DuPont says he hates it as we head down towards turn number 1. And heading to the corner now with multiple cars. We're going 4 wide, and Argent absolutely sending it down the inside. But there comes Unsworth, and it's a Valtteri Bottas moment. Oh my God, there's absolute carnage everywhere. Cars in the wall, cars absolutely everywhere. And I believe all that was stemmed from Unsworth, who got onto the grass, onto the curb, and absolute chaos. More cars off, left, right, and centre. More contact there. Aberdeen making contact with Unsworth. Varga's off. So I don't actually know who is where at this stage of the race. But everyone looking like they've somehow or some form of way have survived through the first couple of laps. But absolute carnage, absolute mess from that one. So we'll go back to the onboard cam, and Argent leads this race ahead of Kneebone now, with Johnson behind him. Langley with a decent start. Greaves followed by Gabino, followed by Fandango, Flores. Atherton's up there with Archer, KLF, Wheel, Craig. So all a relatively decent start for some of these guys, but most of them dropping down the order. And Vitas, not the start that he probably wanted, and De Block, even though he started from pit lane, is probably thinking, oh my God. He's made a couple of places there. Varga with heavy damage to the front of his car, and obviously he's going to be pitting relatively early on that one. But it is Argent who leads the way ahead of Kneebone, ahead of Johnson, and ahead of Langley. So Langley's been really competitive the last few rounds. A little bit of unluckiness at Barcelona, but here at the Hungaroring, he's looking fast and looking competitive. We've got a couple of the Lexuses up there as well, as we get lap done and dusted. We head towards turn number one. A couple of guys returning to pit lane, and Johnson down the inside of Kneebone, catches him off guard. Then Langley goes wide. That's going to allow Sam Greaves up the inside, saying he hates the Lexus round here, where he's up to P3 already. Gabino now onto the back of these guys. Kneebone caught napping there into turn one by Johnson, and Johnson goes a little bit wide there. He's going to be under pressure now from Greaves, who's going to come around the outside towards turn four. This will be brave, but Johnson thinking better of it and pulls back. What else going on? Vitas just on the back of this group, with Wolski not far behind. Wheel there, going wheel to wheel. Atherton's in, and KLF's been and done his stop. So KLF opting to do the stop straight away and get into clean air and use that to his advantage. But it is Argent leading the way now, ahead of Greaves, ahead of Johnson, ahead of Kneebone, ahead of Langley, Gabino, Fandango, Flores, Vitas, Wolski, Archer, Craig, Wheel, Waste, Storrock, Smith, Old Sim Racer, Tucker, Unsworth, Andrews, Bell, Marsden, Aberdeen, and then De Block. And we've still got a few pitters. Varga's in there for a while, as is Saunders. P. Williams returned to pits, as is Crabble, as has Ritchie. So those guys with damage. We go back to the front, and Johnson comes into the pits straight away, opting to get his stop done and dusted. We've got the rest of the guys battling it out relatively hard out front. So possibly an early pit stop might be in Johnson's favour. Heading towards down number one, and Varga, after his stop, has come back out, and it's not the home race that he would have wanted, dropping down the order and is now being lapped. Now, can Sam do anything about Kieran out in front? The gap is 1.9. If the Lexus is struggling that much, he should be able to have a bit of a buffer to him. But meanwhile, Langley is right under the back bumper of his good friend Kneebone. Gray and Tanner, very good friends, probably in the party together. Driving in on the opposite side of the SimPlay group. Kneebone driving for Audio Sport, and Langley driving for Quantum. What else is going on at the minute? We've got Craig on the back, Archer. Now Johnson's made a stop. Where's it put him out compared to KLF? So KLF's not too far behind. He's only a couple of seconds. So if anything, KLF possibly, if the leaders start fighting too hard, he'll jump a couple of places here. So he's got to hope that the leaders start giving each other a bit of a headache. But Greaves here pulling away from Kneebone and gaining a little bit on Argent. You see there Gabino just defending from Fandango, who looked to make an attack momentarily, but Vitas is also there. Wolski has got past Flores. Fandango still trying to find an opportunity to sneak his way through. Any cars to pit lane? No, there is not. Through the final sector, there you go. Flashing their way through. Wheel goes a little bit wide. And I'm surprised not more drivers coming into the pits like Smith, who's opted to pit. Old Sim Racer, surprised, has left it this long. If he comes in early enough, then he will be able to get the damage repaired and carry on going. The two Greasy Bandits drivers, Greasy Bandits Bell and Andrews coming in. Everyone else a little bit more spread out than the guys at the front. All we see there, Archer looking to make a move on. Oh no, so Craig has made a move on Archer. So job done there for Craig. Fandango, meanwhile, has finally got past Gabino. So Gabino, a little bit of cork in the bottle as Argent still leads this race. But Greaves is hunting him down. Kneebone just dropping off the back at the minute. Obviously, the McLaren has a lot of pop. Oh, and you can see a little bit squirty through the chicane. Langley is thinking about going up the inside, but couldn't get quite enough of a run. And Kneebone goes a little bit deep through the left-hander, and it's going to compromise through the right-hander as well. And it's just going to back the pack up. But Kneebone obviously opting to let Langley go. And the 64, that is Bell, speeding in the pit lane. Will get him a penalty on that one. There is Johnson, KLF looking to try and hunt him down and try and bring the gap down. 3.1, so that's a fairly decent gap there for KLF, and you've got a lot of action happening here. Kneebone basically holding up the entire pack with Fandango right behind him with Gabino as well, and Kneebone pulls the trigger, does not want to be in front of all that no more, and decides to pit. Meanwhile, Vita still on the back of Gabino. Is this the opportunity that he's looking for? He's going to go wheel to wheel with the Lamborghini. Heading down towards turn number 1 we go. Later on the brakes, yes he is. Gabino tries to stick with him around the outside, but he's always going to lose that position. We're only now halfway through this race. We'll end the pole there. But Vitas making another position there, and Langley now fastest lap of the race, trying to hunt down the leaders. And there we go, Argent has been caught by Greaves. Kneebone has gone green. Where's Johnson? He's going down the main straight now. Johnson to KLF, what is the gap? It is 4.2, so KLF actually losing a little bit of time there. As where is Kneebone? He's already come out ahead of Johnson, so those guys losing a little bit of time to Kneebone. But Kneebone now has the clean air. So can he use that clean air to his advantage as Sam Greaves now catches onto the back of Argent. Langley's there with him. And Fandango now is the cork in the bottle for Vitas, who's looking for an opportunity to get past. There's poor Benny Varga, who's been a lap down and is with this lot in pace-wise, and he's competitive with them. Storick now holding up Tucker as they go through the left-hander. What a close fights are out there at the minute. Regarding the pit stops, nothing further back. It's still Tucker ahead of Johnson, ahead of KLF for the leading pitters, as Argent now comes into the final sector and Langley now pulls the trigger. So this could give him a great opportunity. He's not wasted time, he's just caught onto the back of him and just about timed that right to come into the pits, I think. As we go now onto Fandango, and the straight line of that Lexus is going to save it against the McLaren. Has been kind of nerfed quite heavily here with the bot. You can see Vitas is going to have to do it in the corners. He's going to have to try and find that confidence and good exit out the corners. As Langley already gets his stop done, and I guess he's further down the pit lane, so now he can get on his way. Where is Kneebone in relation? He's only now into the final corner. Cabino has gone green. There is Langley. He now comes off the limiter. Where is Kneebone? There he is. So Kneebone in the end still losing out to Langley. And whereas Langley, he's now exiting turn 1. So that's how much he's lost out. KLF, meanwhile, is still onto the back of Johnson by the looks of things. Gabino, where did he come out? Just behind Johnson. So, yeah, it's definitely not worked out for KLF a little bit early. He thought it might have worked, or I definitely told him it might have worked. But the chaos that happened at turn 1, you can't always predict that. once again, Greaves onto the back of Argent. The problem that Greaves is going to have now, he's onto the back end, receiving dirty air from the back of that car, and it's really going to hold him up. So he really has to start thinking about, do we pit, get the clean air, and hold off Langley, because I think that's going to be his threat right now, is Langley, which he will overcut Argent as well, and he now does that. He opts to do that strategy. Vitus is doing the same for Fandango. So we've still got a few cars yet to pit. Are you tied to a single manufacturer for the whole season? Yes. So basically, whatever the drivers decide to sign up with for the start of the season, that's the car they start with. They cannot change it through the mid-season. That is it. No changes. They are signed up for that car. They have at least a 6-week practice window, so the servers and all get reset, and we go racing within the 6 weeks. So that's 6 weeks. Oh, it's Gabino. He's made a slight mistake. Rear end stepping out on him, and that's going to allow Flores through, and possibly KLF. Yes, it is. And Gabino, damage to the Lambo, is going to try and get back on as best he possibly can. And Vitus has gone green. Meanwhile, Langley, with that one lap, has already jumped Greaves. So Greaves probably held in the box a little bit longer than he wanted to, but Langley nails the stop, and he is now ahead of Greaves. The 84, that is the block. It doesn't get, if it doesn't go bad, it gets worse. The 33 as well. So that's Craig. He's got a drive-through as well for track limits. So a lot of drive-throughs popping up, and I think it's mainly from the pit lane. Vitus, fastest lap of the race. Not able to really go and use it at the minute. He'll get stuck behind Kneebone as they're coming towards the final part of this sprint race. And Argent still out in front with Fandango. Wolfski has got Varga right behind him and giving him a bit of a headache. And Argent leaving it to the last minute here. Wolfski now pits as well. You think Archer and Waste will also decide to pit this time around. Stark though giving Smith a headache here. Smith having a good little drive here, obviously staying out of trouble, gives him a good opportunity to try and hustle the back of the Ferrari is Stark. So a lot of the bronze drivers having a solid positioning here. Top 20 for Smith, Stark, Tucker, Marsden, Wheel and Betterson. It's only Andrews and Atherton who did not get a good result out of this one. Obviously KLF as well in that P12 position as it stands, but Langley leads. Argent still yet to pit. Fandango has now gone green. He's now come out on circuit, as has Wolfski. They've both been Wolfski jumps Fandango, and Johnson goes up the inside of Wolfski, and that's another position gained for him. A couple of positions here being gained for a couple of the drivers. Wolfski gets a little bit close to the back of the Aston Martin. And if he's able to get the job done. Argent this time around has to pit, and I think it's going to be too little too late. I think Langley might have done the job already. Fandango now looking onto the back of Wolfski. Looking on the back of Johnson and Wolfski to go on board with Johnson. See different lines that all the drivers take. Johnson there just doing a good job at the minute, holding off the guys behind. Leader is on the final lap. And Langley is now into the penultimate corner. Where is Argent? He hasn't even come to his box yet. It's near the bottom, so Langley should easily jump him. It's now if Argent stayed ahead of Greaves. And he's in. Is he dropped and gone? Greaves exits the final corner. Argent's been dropped and gone. Meanwhile, Vitus is on the move on Kneebone, but can't quite get the job done. He's going to go back into the slipstream, and they're going to have Argent coming out of the pits, but I think they're just going to miss him. Yes, they are. Argent drops further back behind, so going long didn't work. and just put him under pressure, and Vitas makes another position there as Langley now leads this race from the reverse grid. And we've got this titanic fight as well. KLF into the bronze category, up into the top 10 position. A very good drive from him, as is Archer, Smith, Storrock, Tucker, Wheel, Betterson and Marsden all ended up in the top 20. And a lot of the silver drivers ended up dropping down. Old Sim Racer has managed to get ahead of Marsden, so Marsden just drops out of the top 10. Once again, Wolfsky having to defend from Fandango at the minute. Over the curb they go, there's a car off. Was that, I think, possibly Argent took a bit of dirt? No, it's Kneebone! Kneebone's made a mistake, he's made contact with Wolfsky. Cars off left, right and centre. Has they all managed to avoid him? Wolfsky and Fandango have got going. Now Flores is going to look to the outside of Fandango. He went out, drag the Lexus there, but Kneebone, critical mistake, has dropped him down the order. He dropped behind, I think he's still ahead of Archer, but Kneebone, a silly mistake there. But we look to the final corner, mid-pack, pretty much back of the silver category, but it is Langley who takes the race win here at the Hungaroring. Sprint race to his name. Sam Greaves in the end going to finish in a solid P2 ahead of Vitas in P3. Argent with a P4 position. Johnson crossing the line for P5. Fandango will finish in P6 ahead of Wolfsky, ahead of KLF, ahead of Flores, ahead of Gabino. Kneebone in the end finishing in 11th place position. And he's going to be upset about that one. Archer coming to the line in 12th place position. Smith, great job from the bronze drivers. They looked fantastic. Smith crossing the line 13th, Storrock 14th, Tucker 15th, Waste 16th. Craig is going to finish in that 17th place position. Here he comes Craig to the line, 17th ahead of Old Sim Racer in 18th place position. Marsden is just going to stay ahead of Unsworth right at the very end there. Aberdeen in 21st position with Wheel finishing in 22nd. Betterson 23rd. De Block trying to hang in there against Varga. These two are going at it for the last couple of corners here, and Varga goes up the inside, and Varga recovery drive to 24th position in the end, and De Block rounds that off. Could be a win for penalties, says Sam in the chat. But Andrews 26th, Saunders 27th, Atherton 28th, Bell 29th, Ritchie 30th, Crabble 31st, and Williams 32nd. That was the first race. What's the difference between the red and the silver numbers? So the silver, so they're all based on a category here in the GT3s. We got our pros and pro-ams. And for the pro-ams, the red means bronze and the grey means silver. So basically they're ranking on how general pace. Yeah, that's basically that. But Langley wins race 1. We'll be back after this quick break as we will then get the qualifying session and then into the feature race. We'll be back in a few minutes. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport, and race 1 is done and dusted. After the chaos of turn 1, hopefully we'll have a much better race 2 here. KLF is the first one out on track. He's got Vitas right behind him, but the championship standings have been updated, and after that kind of chaotic race, the championship looks like this. Langley still leads the way ahead of Vitas, ahead of then Fandango. Langley leads from Vitas from Fandango in third. Fourth is Greaves. Fifth is Kneebone, with Flores in sixth. Wolski sat in seventh, with eighth going away of Varga. Ninth, Unsworth, while 10th is Old Sim Racer. In 11th is Richie. Aberdeen is in that 12th position. 13th is Craig, with Gabino in 14th. Taylor in 15th, with Argent in 16th. Saunders in 17th, with Lee in 18th. The block 19th, with 20th being Bolton, with Waste in 21st. Johnson 22nd, with Smith in 23rd. 24th is Clarble, with Williams in 25th. Archer 26th, with Bell in 27th. KLF in 28th, with Williams in 29th. Betterson in 30th. Tucker 31st, with Will in 32nd. Best 33rd. Starrock in 34th, with Atherton in 35th. Marshall in 36th. Goodwill in 37th. Dempsey in 38th, with Marsden in 39th. Andrews in 40th, with Roy in 41st position. Regarding the teams, it is still 4Q Motorsport, who's pulled away ever so slightly on No Gas, No Glory, with Cloud9 sat in P3. Team Audio Sport in that 4th place position, with Greasy Bandits Racing sat in P5, with P6 going away of SimPlay Racing. NLR Racing in P7, with Team Murloc P8, Soldor Racing in P9, Black and Blue Racing in that P10 position, with 2Cs Racing in 11th, with OWR Racing in 12th, with Lexi's Industries in that 13th place position. 14th is Team GBR, with Rapid Rabbits GT in 15th, Quantum Motorsport in 16th, with Team BSR 17th, with OGR in 18th, and Wasaki Racing bringing up the rear. So we're now into our 10-minute qualifying session here for the grid order for the feature race, and the feature race will be the longest race of the night, a 1 hour and 10-minute race, 70 minutes, so roughly the time, especially on a circuit like this where the tires will start to die out. As you can see, Mirko Ritchie in the pits at the minute. That is due to a qualifying ban, and he's racked himself up 5 penalty points to put him in that position. So as we go into this qualifying session, who do we think is going to take the pole position? And for me, it was very much a reminisce of the chaos of Bottas back in, I believe it was 21. But yeah, it was absolute carnage, absolute chaos into turn number 1, and KLF sets the pace of a 46.3. Vitas was on the back of him, but dropping down the back there. So who we got in the final sector? We got Aberdeen going to P3, with Varga straight away into the 45.3s. We're looking at the mid to low 44s for the Pro-Ams. The pros will be expecting a lot more. We'll be expecting the 43s. I know Kieran O'Reilly, Ben Root, Jamal Clouden, myself, and I think a few others as well have been into the 43s already, as the block pulls over to one side. But that's the thing, who's now coming into the final few corners. We've got Old Sim Racer coming to the line, and that lap time puts him in 5th place position, which is a decent start for him. Then we've got John Andrews coming out of the final corner, and Andrews will put himself in that 12th place position. This gives me a bit of time to see which drivers crossed the line, and that was Betterson going into P7. We got the McLaren of, I believe, Williams there crossing the line to go into 10th place position. Then we got Luke Saunders there, good lap time, putting him into 3rd place position. With now Gary Clarble in the Aston Martin, now P5, so still no one able to get near Varga's time. Half a second is Wolski. There's another Aston Martin cross the lines. That is Flores. And here we go. We've got Langley coming to the final corner by the list of things, and it's only a P4 for him. Not probably what you would have wanted. The block just behind him. Kneebone goes into P5. Maybe that's Atherton as well, just further back, but he's not able to put a lap time on the board. And Wolski now coming into the final corner. Meanwhile, Vitas sets the pace now with a 1:44.4 and shows why the McLaren is looking mighty around here. KLF also improving, going up to 9th place position there. Varga now coming to the first sector, and he's now 4/10 off the place of Benny Varg of the Vitas. Wolski not able to improve either. I think that was Bell coming to the line, or gone across the line. And Smith now puts a lap time on the board to put him 21st position. So lap times now coming in thick and fast. Here is Sam Greaves coming to the line, still 1.8 off the pace. I think that's just the general pace of the Lexus, just struggling at this stage of the session. Storrock crossing the line to go into that 17th place position. And who else we got in the final couple of corners here? Trying to see who's in the final sector. We've got Flores coming in through the final sector, so we'll stay on board with him and see if any of the times changes. So once again, a great qualifying session once again from KLF in the top 10. Surely shouldn't be in that bronze class, should be in silver ideally, as here comes Flores out the final corner towards the line. Can he improve on P10? Yes, he does. P5 with that attempt, so knocks him up a few positions. Who we got in the background? We got Kneebone there, exiting the final corner in his McLaren. What's he able to do? He finds a couple of thousandths, but nothing really to improve on. Langley, no improvement either, and that's the Lamborghini of Gabino. Still no lap time for him on the board, and just struggling as Atherton puts a time on the board to put him in 23rd. KLF crossing the line, no improvement from him, and Vitas doesn't extend the gap. We got Aberdeen, who's driving that Audi incredibly well. From what the sources tell me, the Audi is one of the harder cars to drive, and there we see Benny Varga gets within under 2/10. So a great lap time from Varga. Can he win at his home circuit? That is the question. Craig now puts in a decent lap time. He puts himself into P6 position. So people are finding improvement. There are finding times there. As we got Sam Greaves once again, he improves and goes 3rd. That's me saying the Lexus is struggling, but he has found the pace out of nowhere, and up he goes. And there is an Aston Martin. That was Storrock, gets himself up into 16th place position. Lap times coming in thick and fast here as Langley goes out. Has he got enough time to get out and get one more lap here? And that is the question. We're on board with Luke Saunders, who comes through the final corner now. I'm not sure who's just ahead of him, but whoever it is has got a decent gap towards the line. Luke Saunders, no improvement either. The 181, I believe that is Clarble. Yes, it is. And he improves to go to P7. So an improvement there for Gary Clarble. Flores, no improvement for him either. And lap times now just struggling here to improve. They're trying to find that ultimate one lap pace. Here comes Kneebone, 12 at the minute. Still no improvement, just struggling. He's with his fellow countryman at the minute in the mid pack. Gabino doesn't improve either. There's KLF in the background, currently 1.9 off the pace. And I think he's going again one more time. He's just cleared Atherton, so it's his last attempt here. Avitas doesn't improve. Where is Varga? Here he comes. Is it an improvement? No, it's not. He stays where he is. Wolfski, no improvement either. So the guys are literally struggling now just to find those couple of tenths, those couple of seconds, and they can't find them. Sam Greaves is done. Saunders still on a lap. We've got Craig going for a last attempt. 27 seconds still on the clock. Is Langley going to make it? That is the question. He's going to come into the fight. I think it's going to be Nick or Tuck here, because Langley's struggling here. Or is he gonna? We'll see here. He's had to catch a bit of traffic. 6, 5. I don't think he's going to get it. 3, 2, 1. He just about makes it. Langley makes it on the line. So he's got one attempt here to try and get himself as high as he possibly can. Bettison is going to be the first one to come to the line. Storrock went to pit lane. Langley's got one attempt at this. No pressure here. to try and nick pole position right at the very end, but Bettison now exits the final corner. He goes to 19th place position. Then there's Wheel coming to the line. He improves to go to 25th. Then we got Kneebone improves and finally goes to 8th place position, finding the lap time. KLF now exiting the final corner. Kelly Davis to the line, 14th at the minute, and he improves to go to 7th. What a lap time there from KLF, finding the pace and finding the groove around this circuit, and he improves. We've got a couple of other cars now left to finish those laps off. Varga does not take pole position at his home circuit. Wolski finds a couple of hundreds here, but not enough to improve. And there, Nuclear Waste improves a little bit. Who's that in the final few corners here? I'm not sure who it is. It's... we'll wait till they come to the line. I'm trying to find who it is. It was Smith, I think it was, to the end there. Yes, it was Smith. Ended up 23rd. It is just down to Langley now, his one and only lap. Where is Langley on the board? He ended up dropping quite down, actually. Where is he? I can't find him. Langley, there he is, 13th on the grid. 1.7 off the pace. This is his one and only lap. Where's it going to put him? It puts him 4th. Better than 13th, but 4th place in the end. Your championship leader starts P4. Obviously still in the game. He still took a race win in the sprint, but only 4th place for Langley. Wow. I think tonight is going to be the fight between the homeboy, the home favourite. Obviously the crowd is going to go absolutely crazy if he wins here. That's Benny Varga. I think it's going to be between him and Vitas going into turn number 1. But we shall see who will come out on top, and I will get a poll going. Reminder as well to any of the drivers in the Pro-Am class, if you win or if you've come in the top 3 in either races, whether if it's the sprint or the feature, and you're happy to come and do an interview, then please feel free to join the Discord, and we'll get you in for an interview. You don't need to really do anything to your settings. You just gotta... Oh god, I set that a bit too early. Best good effort there from Langley for Team Quantum, his new teammate. I'm pretty sure Bestie's very happy with that one, and I think Bestie's looking forward to joining his new teammate, as everyone in the SimPlay Racing group has had a teammate supporting them one way or another, and he hasn't this season, so he's finally nice to have that support for him.
30 seconds.
I got a little bit eager with the button there. I'll have another 50 on... Oh, are we doing this? Skunky, I look forward to Pro-Am now, because we just predict how many drive-throughs we're going to get. Now, the rule I'm going to have with that one is it got to be legit, like, drive-throughs? Like, they got to be, like, track limit drive-throughs, or what? I know tips like to get involved in this one as well. Good luck, drivers. Feature race winner. There's your poll. Get your votes in on that one. So let's get your votes in on who you think is going to win this one. I don't usually like to curse anyone. I do like to make a prediction myself. After a poor race one, I'm not going to say Varga. If I say Varga and he has a horror show, then I'm not going to hear the end of it in the Discord. I bet Unsworth doesn't miss his brakes now. I'm pretty sure he'll be cautious. Skunky saying track limits. So not drive-throughs. Okay, won't class drive-throughs from pit lane. Carball did not make the start, which is not good for him. Mike, funny comment there from Mike. But I think it's going to be one of the two in front. I think keep an eye on Langley. And keep an eye on for Greaves doing something long into the race, possibly try and catch some points here or there. But I think the Lexuses are doing the best they possibly can. You can't look past the pole man. Vitas has looked very, very good, but Varga is incredibly competitive at this circuit as well. So I think either one of the top two will probably going to win this one. Let's hear what you guys think in the chat. Obviously, get involved with Skunky's prediction. How many drive-throughs? You're going with 7. Bessie and Langley for the win. I'm going to go with 8 drive-throughs. I'm going to go with 8. No. I'm going to go with 6. I believe in our league. I'm going to go with 6. 6 drive-throughs. So, again, if you want to get on in this action, Tips going the same way as me on that one, thinking the same. And let's see how we shall get on this evening. Mike Matthews going 2. Reminder as well, if you go into the description, then please have a look at our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. Design Manchester is a group of people who produces vinyl graphics, laser engraved grips, mugs and printed clothing, much more, including SimPlay merchandise. Head over to their Facebook page. And then you've got Audio Sport, manufacturer of VW Trans T4 audio solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk, and there's our Facebook link as well. Tips changes his mind and goes for 8. So we've got myself on 6, Skunky on 7, Tips on 8, and Mike's going 2. Who's going to take the race win though? More importantly, is it going to be Vitas or is it going to be Varga? Is the home crowd going to go crazy, or is Bestie going to be right and it's going to go Langley? I hope I win. I really need this 50p as we're about to get underway and racing here at the Hungaroring for the second time tonight. Who's going to take the win? Is it going to be McLaren or is it going to be BMW? We shall see as you wait for the green. Green, and away we go. First drive-through pop-up. Obviously that doesn't count, but Aberdeen taking a drive-through straight away as we head down towards turn number 1, and Sam Greaves in that Lexus has some decent pace as it goes into turn number 1. Varga being very cautious. Kneebone with a little bit of contact there by Aberdeen in the background. Everyone else relatively clean through turn 1, much better than the first race. Very much at least the Bottas accident that we saw in the previous race, but a good start nonetheless as everyone else gets into order and position. Flores there under some pressure from Kneebone, losing out and now losing possibly a position as well to KLF, and that's Old Sim Racer having a moment. That's going to allow Fandango to come flying through as well as now the sector times come up. Aberdeen up the inside of Fandango, contact made, Fandango goes round, and I can't get on board of him because the times are rubbish on this game, and there is more chaos. There's Fandango off the block. Richie Marsden's there as well. Is Aberdeen carry on? Yes, he has. So a lot of drivers being caught up in that one. An absolute chaos start once again. But Vitas, the start he wanted, and more importantly the car he probably wanted behind him. He's got Sam Greaves right behind him with Varga already giving him pressure. Langley going with them as well with Wolfski in P5, Saunders P6, Kneebone P7, Flores P8 with KLF P9. He's got Gabino behind him in 10 with Craig. Aberdeen, Unsworth, Old Sim Racer, Argent dropping down to further down the pack. I'm not sure what's happened to him. He's on the grass and trying to get himself going again. So he dropped down the order. Betterson now 15th. Williams will be in that 16th place position with Smith in 17th. Storrock 18th. 19th. Archer 20th. Would have been Andrews, but it's going to be Johnson who will move up a position now as Argent just drops down the order. The block is on a recovery drive at this stage as well as he's going wheel to wheel with Andrews. It's a little bit tired as Aberdeen now into the pits to do his drive through, and Bell instantly comes into the pits as well, thinking to get his pit stop done and dusted straight away, and the block makes the position there. Meanwhile, Sam Greaves already 2 seconds off the pace to Vitas. Vitas is long gone up into the distance as Benny Varga being held up here by Sam Greaves at the minute. Gray, Langley just on the back of Wolfski trying to go with them. Everyone else in relatively clean order at the minute. We've got Gabino attacking KLF at the minute as well as Storrock now looks up the inside of Smith, and job done for him now, up another position for Storrock. Good clean move there, but Vitas pulling away at the minute in the number 6 McLaren and looking mighty at this stage. Meanwhile, we're on board with Varga, who's trying to attack the Lexus. Probably this is his best opportunity. Sam, too little too late to defend, and through goes Varga. Finally, he is released and free. What can he do with that BMW power as Langley now looks to the outside of Greaves? Varga's left the door a little bit wide open here, but it's going to allow Sam Greaves just have a moment to think about coming back, but he's not able to do so. Langley has got past Wolfsky actually, so Wolfsky was in front of him. Wolfsky dropping back behind. Oh, he has a moment there and nearly drops it on the curb as he head down towards turn number 1, and Varga, more importantly, has dropped the Lexus, and already Greaves having to defend turn 1. The Lexus doesn't have the best brakes whatsoever. But through the first couple of corners, by the way, happy birthday to Beto also. Didn't know it was his birthday, so happy birthday to him. But Greaves at the minute defending heavily from Langley. Any close battles as well. We've got Gabino right on the rear wing of KLF here. We go on board the rear wing of KLF, going through the turn 4 corner, just keeping it in track limits. More important that is. We've got now Craig coming to join the party as well. Speaking of the birthday boy, he's having a decent start at the minute as well. He's currently P13 at the minute. KLF having to defend from the Lamborghini and McLaren of Gabino and Craig at this moment in time. Can't find a way through, can they, at this stage? Langley meanwhile sitting in the draft of the Lexus at this moment in time. And the pit window has now opened, so Bell obviously had major damage from the first lap incident. He will have to come back into the pits. I'm pretty sure Skunky is going to be looking relatively close to see when those drive-throughs will pop up. Gabino there stuck in the traffic of KLF. And like I said, this is the problem with this circuit. Let's just follow the leader. No real opportunity, anyone down other than turn number 1 and possibly turn 2 if you have a good braking zone through there. But Gabino once again giving KLF a little bit of a headache, but is unable to get run. Flores has made a mistake. He's run wide himself, and KLF ends up turning up onto the scene, but that's giving Gabino that opportunity that he needed. And Flores' mistakes is causing KLF to lose a position, and Gabino goes through, but Wolfsky's made a mistake. And there's Luke Saunders as well. So the two BMWs possibly coming together once again under the Greasy Bandit stable. KLF's had a great run through here. He's going wheel to wheel with Gabino. They bash doors, and Gabino holds on to the position for now. And look at that, and in the end Gabino gets the position, but all that was caused by Flores' mistake. Does his drive-through count? No. Wonder if to take any rubber. I honestly think after the test I'd done at Catalonia, I think it's a waste of time. Langley to send it. He's not quite close enough to Greaves at this moment in time, but Vitas, meanwhile, out in front, fastest lap of the race to his name, and a gap of 5.2. We'll keep an eye on that gap, but Varga's already dropped these two, and Langley there with him. Nebo in P5 with Flores down in that P6 position. Gabino getting ahead of KLF, and KLF will want that position back. Wolfsky now returning back to circuit in P9, and Saunders down to P10. Who else we got here? Who was that was slow? Not sure who that was. Someone was very slow. The 661 has done their stop and go penalty. That is Wheel possibly speeding in the pit lane. And Fandango after the contact is right down in the pack. Really struggling at the stage as the block. Also, your two-time race winner last time out, tire change as well. That is optional, but so the way it works here for the feature race, last season's championship, as we go back to Fandango a minute, who's on the move on Smith, and look at that Lexus power, easily the best car in a straight line, and boom, job done into turn number 1. And the way the rules work for the pit stops, they have to put at least 1 litre of fuel, which will cost him 3.2 seconds a stop for just 1 litre. For every litre they then add, I believe, Mike might have to correct me, I believe it's 0.2 of a second for every litre that they add. So if they add something like, I don't know, 10 to 20 litres, they're looking at a kind of like 10-second stop maybe. But if they take the tyres as well, the tyres on their own are 30 seconds. So you could have a driver that opts to go all the way on a full tank of fuel, with the full tank of fuel, and basically is able to then use the weight and the defence all the way, don't take the tyres, and save themselves 27 seconds. 3/10 per litre, says Matthew Duffin in the chat. Thank you very much, Matthew. So Langley now still on the back of Greaves. So this is one of the great things I want to talk about of this fantastic circuit. You've got Langley, who's in a car that's very competitive on the corners. The Ferrari, fantastic in the corners, great with downforce. But look at that Lexus, struggles on the corners. But as soon as it gets on that straight, the power of the Lexus just kicks in. There's nothing Langley can do. He can get as close as he wants. But Greaves just has to defend the inside of turn number 1, and he cannot get through. Meanwhile, Varga has kept the pace to Vitas. So Vitas hasn't got it his own way at the minute. He's still having to keep an eye on Varga further back. So if Varga tries something clever further back, he's still an opportunity. Flores, meanwhile, is onto the back of Kneebone. Kneebone just seems to be struggling a little bit here at the circuit, not really favouring him at this moment in time. KLF has actually pulled away from Wolfsky a little bit, and he has got Saunders and Old Sim Racer right behind them. So really close competitive racing here at this moment of the race, and we're not even into the first 10 minutes of this race. And still 1 hour to go. Gary Carble in on the pits. Bell and Atherton getting those pits done. And it was Bell earlier on who was being lapped. So that explains of that driver. So Wolfsky once again bringing the gap down to KLF, but not quite close enough. And Langley momentarily has got ahead of Sam Greaves. And as you can see, it is in the tight, twisty section of the circuit. And Langley is ahead of Sam Greaves. And there's nothing that Sam can do. Meanwhile, Varga losing pace to Vitas out in front. And this is just going to help Vitas bring that championship gap down. At Barcelona, I was 2 seconds per lap quicker on the fresh road than the others on old tyres. Yes, that's very much true, the Skunky, but on the other hand, you do lose that 30 seconds plus the time in the pits for the stop and go. I mean, I was the same. I was lapping 2 seconds a lap faster and actually lost positions rather than gained. I was in 9th by the time I pitted and came out 11th in the end. So for me, it didn't work, and I think the same for Clouden. I think unless you're in the pack, it definitely might work, as Flores is now attacking the back of Kneebone. And this is just congesting the entire pack up. There's also Gabino. KLF's now involved. Old Sim Racer looking down the inside of Luke Saunders. They just about give each other racing room. And all this is being stemmed from Kneebone holding up the pack a little bit here. Duffin, best commentator. Thanks, Ian. Thanks, man. That hurts. Even though I have to do 2 jobs at once. Thanks. I have to do this and who, Darren? Thank you very much. Love you too. As Flores, for a minute there, looked like he was going to attack Kneebone in turn 4, which really isn't an overtaking opportunity. Langley now starting to extend the gap to Greaves, and I think just the straight line speed and the Lexus able to just abuse the curbs is allowing him just to stick to the Ferrari. Still, Wolfsky onto the back of KLF, can't really do anything. KLF's now caught onto the back of this Kneebone train. He is the trolley train, but we're going to call it the Tanner train because his first name is Tanner. He's gone wide, he's made a mistake, he's going to have to lift, he's going to have to lose that time. And here comes Flores. Possibly looking to the right-hander, he does. Kneebone comes off the brakes ever so slightly, allows his car to run wide. Flores not able to get the job done, and here comes Gabino taking advantage in the penultimate corner. Lamborghini down the inside of the Aston Martin, and hello is the McLaren of KLF right in the midst of this fight. A good little scrap, and Flores looks close again. But while this is all going on, Kneebone tries to get away, but he is struggling at this moment in time. Wow, Wolfsky has another big moment on that curb. KLF not able to get the exit that he wanted, but Gabino now into the slipstream of Kneebone. And he's just taking his time, being patient here, and Gabino is working his way through the Lamborghini, one of the higher cars that was bopped, and it is showing why, because Gabino is relatively comfortable in this car and is giving a couple of the drivers a bit of a headache. But a great little train that we have going on here. The front 4 are long gone into the distance. What else have we got? We got, is that Fandango, I think. Fandango has moved up, or is he a lap down? I think he's dropped down. Yeah, he's a lap down by the looks of things. So Fandango possibly pitted and maybe didn't do his 1 litre, so that's confused me. Think and breathe. Well, you do it then. You come in here and do it, bestie. I'd like to see you try. Cheeky git. Cheeky sod. You've been watching too much Formula 1, you have, mate, especially Sonny Hayes. Gabino now just dropped off the pace a little bit off of Kneebone, with Flores and KLF trying to go with them. And Wolfski also there. The BMW tends to go through a weird stage in the first couple. Oh, and Wolfski sends out the inside of KLF. KLF sees him covered and gives him racing room. A little bit optimistic there from Wolfski. And he's going to have to stay on the outside, and that's just going to hurt his run through the penultimate corner. A bit of a lunge as such into that corner, and I think all it's done is just held the rest of them up. As Gabino once again gets under the rear wing of Kneebone, and they got traffic up ahead of Wheel as well. So dirty air from all the cars here. And KLF now losing pace just due to the fact that Wolfski tried to send it into the right-hander. Old Sim Racer looking up the inside of Saunders. And Old Sim Racer cannot get the job done. What other fights we got going on? De Block has got a wheel-to-wheel fight with Fandango, who's a lap down, so a little bit of contact there. And Argent sends it on Archer, but missed his braking point by a country mile there, and Archer gets in front. That is Williams opting to pit at this stage of the race. We have got a fight for the stoppers. That is Clarball getting past Atherton, Bestie's rival. That is Atherton, DJ Phil and Bestie have a rivalry going back decades, back to the earliest point in time that anyone can remember. And Saunders, an Old Sim Racer, just clearing Wheel there. And Wolfski now just dropping off the back of KLF. KLF now actually coming back onto the leading 3 of this group. Meanwhile, Vitus is out in front and tearing up the circuit. 9.1 ahead of Varga at the minute. I was saying to keep an eye on that gap if Varga could bring it down. But if anything, it's extending. 9.1. What is it now? Going to be 9.3. Bestie as a guest commentator next week. I would love to say so, but he ends up having to be on track and try and mimic his hero of Sonny Hayes, a makeshift character, and I believe his racing is makeshift as well. Don't forget Lexi. Mate, Lexi's well ahead of you two. Way ahead. Lexi's Industries is now rivaling the likes of Greasy Bandits, MSA, and oh my god, Gabino gets very close to the back of Kneebone, and that offers an opportunity for Flores to come up and underneath the inside of the Lamborghini. And Flores goes a little bit wide, and Gabino looks to possibly go up the inside. Again, turn 2, not really the best overtaking opportunity unless you've had a great run through there, but Flores has had an awesome run through the right-hand kink of turn 3 into turn 4, but once again he gets into the dirty air of that McLaren, and Kneebone doing a fantastic job of defending, but he doesn't really have to do very much because that's just the nature of the Hungaroring. It's relatively easy to hold positions here, and look, Flores and Gabino tripping over each other. I think that would be ace. It would indeed. Very well, I would like to see Bestie join me. Oh, KLF has a slide. He has a little bit of a slide. He manages to save it. And Wolfski now onto the back bumper of him. Wolfski gets very, very close, probably too close to the back of that McLaren. KLF instantly defends the inside of the right-hander. I'll move a couple of cars in front because that stupid board gets in the way. And you see KLF still defending heavily, but he's not defending too hard. He's still able to take his natural line through the left-hander there. Good hard racing between these guys. Archer being dropped there by Argent. Argent pulling away, and we've got Waste now onto the back of Andrew. So these two having a good little scrap at the moment. So Waste been bringing that time down. Let me just remind you of one of the greatest rivalries to ever seen SimPlay Motorsport. Obviously, you've seen Lauda and Hunt. You've seen Hamilton versus Verstappen, Schumacher versus Alonso, Schumacher versus Hill. Some of the greatest rivalries in history. Plato versus Neil, Sutton versus Ingram, and most importantly, the biggest of them all, Atherton versus Best. The greatest rivalry in racing history. And you can see that great rivalry here at SimPlay Motorsport in the Pro-Am League. And with a fantastic commentator of myself bringing you all the action of those two going wheel to wheel. It's a shame that Best is not here able to race and show how good a driver he is. And he takes all of his credit to the man that is Sonny Hayes, who is a leading driver of the Apex Racing Group. I believe he's gone off to do the Baja 1000, I believe, or something along those lines. But yeah, Bestie, the man to watch in the coming few seasons, going to end up winning the pros, I think, at some point when he eventually gets there. Don't forget Archon versus himself. That's a bit hard stuff. And I think, to be fair, the other rivalry is yourself and the camera. Your play stuffing versus the camera. I think that's a fight on its own. I'm going off topic here, but KLF still having to defend heavily from Wolfsky, and Saunders there goes a little bit too far wide. Old Sim Racer not able to capitalise. This is probably your closest fight on track as Nuclear Waste looks to go up the inside of the chicane. And Andrews goes wide, and he's going to hold on to the position because of it. He might have to give up that position, and up through the inside goes Waste, and job done for him. And Andrews loses a position. Ouch, says Skunky. Yes, boy, this is why I don't use it, because you broke it. Oh, Gabino nearly hits the back of Flores. And another mistake there from him in turn number 1. It's going to put him under pressure from KLF, who's going to look to the inside of turn number 2. He's not quite close enough there in the braking zone, but KLF now has gone from being a defender to now an attacker. I think KLF's just touched the curb a little bit too much, and he's lost momentum. Yes, he has, and he's now back in the clutches of Wolski for a slight second there. KLF was on the attack while Gabino was defending. Your top 4, meanwhile, 11.4 up the road is Vitas ahead of Varga, ahead of Langley. Langley's starting to bring the gap down to Varga, so it could be interesting to see that fight go on. Greaves currently P4. Kneebone still defending off Flores and Gabino, with that KLF in P8 with Wolski behind. Saunders in P10 with Old Sim Racer in 11th. Unsworth in P12. Other rivalries down, watching MSA go past you every week. That's not really a rivalry though. My rivalry is me and the Fanatec. It's not really a rivalry, that's just an absolute annihilation. That is, Bestie. Nice try. I've already accepted that I'm basically their little, yeah, brutal. Thanks, man. Bestie, when you get a couple of championships, come back at me. Gabino goes a little bit wide out of the final corner. There's a car entering pit lane. Who is that? I'm not sure who came into the pits. There's Luke Saunders. So this could be interesting. Luke Saunders obviously biting the bullet here. So far so good for the drivers, with no penalty drive-throughs at this minute due to track limits. So at the minute, 50p is definitely not going the way for Skunky. As we see here, Cabino another troublesome turn 1, and Cabino struggling through there. And I think that's just due to, I think he's on the controller, so he's just struggling with possible feel from the Lambo. Quite an understeery car is the Lamborghini, so with also running the controller, it's probably hurting him quite a bit. Flores once again gets close to Kneebone, but that's about it. He only gets close. Does Mario Kart count? What does that mean? What do you mean by does Mario Kart count? No, Mario Kart doesn't count. It'll happen, says Skunky. He's just waiting. That's all he's waiting for. He's waiting for the drive-throughs to kick in. As KLF is still trying to hold off Wolski. Old Sim Racer there just made a slight mistake and is now dropped off the group of this guy's packet. Yeah, I don't know what hell happened there. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I need to think and breathe. Hey, Bestie. But Unsworth going through the middle sector there, catching his teammate of Old Sim Racer. No gas, no glory at the minute. Outscoring Fandango, but Greaves at the minute up in that P4 position. 4Q Motorsport looking good in the teams at the minute, and it's just going to help their championship fight. And once again, you've got this 5-way fight at the minute, all relatively close to one another, and none of them want to blink at the minute. The only one who did was Saunders. Just give me 2 seconds, I'm going to run and grab my drink that's the other side of the room because my voice is already hurting. That's thanks to Bestie making me talk so much. Down towards turn number 1 we go again, and relatively clean through there. Wolski goes a bit wide, and while this is all going on, those 2 Ferraris of the No Gas No Glory are catching this group of cars there. I think Kneebone, slight mistake going into 2, he's going to go wide. Flores is going to keep that tighter line, and it's going to allow him to have a good run through there. How is bronze category? Well, KLF at the minute leading that category. We'll run through it momentarily in a moment, Bestie. Kneebone pushes the limits there. I think that might be a ping for a warning at least, but it is KLF leading the bronze category at the minute, with Starrick sat in P2, then it's Bettison in P3, P4 is Archer, P5 is Smith, P6 is Andrews, P7 is Atherton, P8 is Marsden, P9 is Wheel, 10 is Bell, and 12 is Tucker. Vino still under some immense pressure from KLF. It's just an absolute trainer. Oh, Sam Greaves has made a mistake. His knee bone is now close to him. He's got damage to the side of his car. So Sam Greaves in the Lexus is in trouble. Drugs test for KLF for sure. KLF is a ringer. I think all of you need to give him a bit of hard time tomorrow night for the pros. And also Langley has brought the gap down to Varga. So Varga is under pressure from the Ferrari of Langley, a championship leader. Vita's doing everything he can to capitalise in points while Langley is struggling. And Kneebone also struggling himself, although he's caught onto the back of Greaves. Greaves, luckily, has got a car behind him that just seems to just genuinely be struggling. Wolfsky now pits. I think it's still too early. You end up in the traffic. Where did Luke Saunders come out of all that? Luke Saunders in the far end of the circuit, but he's got a whole gaggle of cars just ahead of him that I believe have pitted as well. So if Wolfsky pits in that group, if they've gone low fuel, that's not helped them at all. Because they've ended up in the pack. I think for this race, from what I've been studying and learning, I know it's taken me quite a while this season to kind of get to grips. I didn't want to believe the MSA boys when they said that full fuel and that's it. Yeah, I think it's going to be full tank and just leave it to the very last minute, but I think it's going to produce some pretty boring racing. But I think you end up in traffic. The circuit is just not big enough. When you do get, there's a couple of spaces. You have to time it perfectly. You need to figure out your lap times. You need to figure out where the gap would be. So, but again, you see the 2 Ferraris behind. Varga has pitted. So Varga has pitted. And again, this is early. It's a lot of fuel to put on board. And again, he's going to drop himself right into the traffic. If you like what you see here, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you very much, Bestie, for doing that. That reminds me. So, and that's why Bestie is one of our Patreons. If you do want to be a part of the Patreon system, then head over to our Discord page. And with the Patreon, you pay £3 a month and you get a variety of access to SimPlay Motorsport. For example, you get to reserve your race number. So, for example, my race number is the number 16. I get to reserve that, so no other driver in the league is able to run that number, because that number is now mine because I'm a paid Patreon. Also, with that payment, I also get the privileges of sign-ups. So I'll get the first sign-ups that come up for any event, whether it's fun event, endurance event, and sign-ups for the season as well. So feel free to be a part of that as well. You also, for next season, now we've got all the data that we need for majority of the circuits that we have, is now going to allow us to let the Patreons once again vote for the calendar. for next season. So the Patreons will get the opportunity to vote for the calendar for next season. So make sure you're a part of that one as well. They also get the option to choose which are the night, evening and morning races. I believe we have 2 night races. The only thing they cannot vote on is Donington will always be in the calendar, as it is the home of SimPlay Motorsport. I'm trying to think of other things. Obviously, if they are on Instagram and they tag SimPlay Motorsport, that reminds to everyone, if you do tag SimPlay Motorsport on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever it is that you post on, we will instantly then reshare it onto the SimPlay if you are a Patreon. And obviously your streams as well in the Discord will automatically get posted into the live streams. KLF meanwhile is under some pressure from Old Sim Racer, and Old Sim Racer has been slowly and surely been working onto the back of himself, and Wolfski down the inside of turn number 1. Old Sim Racer goes late on the brakes, but the Ferrari's quite good on the brakes, but KLF very smart to do so, swoops underneath, but Old Sim Racer is going to have the inside then for turn number 2. And KLF possibly going to lose out to the Ferrari here. KLF going to try and go around the outside, but contact made, and Old Sim Racer gives him a shove, and now Unsworth is close to him as well, but has to back out of that one. KLF a little bit squirrely on the exit there, and he feels a little bit hard done by Old Sim Racer there. So a flash of the lights from him, and Kneebone still doing a fantastic job of defending off Flores and Gabino. He's still got 40.5 minutes still to go of this race, and Vitas, not going to see much of him, but he is long gone out into the distance, leading by 15.4 seconds. And Varga, with that early stop, has put himself right into the traffic. He's now behind Argent. Now, if you were a leader and these guys were back markers, then you get the privilege of blue flags, but they're not. They're fighting for position. Argent now thinking better of it to fight against Varga, but every car he'll come up against is a car that's fighting for position. So he's got Archer, which is his next driver, to come up against, and it's Betterson, and it's Stark, and even in between them there's a couple of Latin cars. Yes, it will help him in the long run, but I think it's just going to hurt him later on in this race. Let's see what Langley now can do. He's got some clean air. 15.8 to Vitas. I really don't think anyone's going to threaten him unless something happens to him. And KLF opting to pull the trigger here, coming up roughly to the halfway stage of this race, and he pulls the trigger. So who is he around against? He was with Wolfski and Saunders, and they're kind of in a nice quiet section of the circuit. Johnson just ahead. Wolfski's having a moment on his own through the S's there, but KLF I think as well has possibly full fueled, so he'll be in, stop and go again. So Wolfski in the middle sector, coming into the final sector, and Gabino's just dropped off the back of Flores, and Kneebone has ended up losing a position to Flores. And we've missed that one. Obviously, keep an eye on what happens with KLF and Wolfski. He's gone green, he's gone out the pits, and there is Varga. So he's actually jumped Benny Varga. So Varga pitting early, is in P6, has dropped behind KLF. Where is Wolfski? Wolfski's only now coming out of the final corner. So these guys putting the fuel in, maybe changing tyres, has failed them big time. And on a circuit like this, I think that Saunders getting past Marston, then he was a lapped car. That's hurt them big time. Flores now ahead of Kneebone and Gabino. Full fuel for KLF there. Stop, go, and off he goes. Possibly it's going to help him out. Meanwhile, the No Gas, No Glory boys are giving it a good little scrap between each other. Varga now onto the back of Archer, and this is what I mean. KLF has only just cleared Bell, and then it's quite a way till he catches Betterson. So KLF in a nice little window here. He's timed that quite well, with the cars around him fighting quite hard. Nebo now has dropped back to Flores. We've got still the No Gas, No Glory pair going at it wheel to wheel, and Unsworth runs a little bit wide there. But that's an interesting call there from KLF into the pits. Stop, go, and away he goes. Varga, meanwhile, has to try and get past Archer. He has done. Now he can try and take his fight to KLF. So strategy that may have not worked out, and this is the full fuel advantage. Good strategy, that says Duffin. I know you're saying that because you're probably in his ear telling him exactly what to do. You could be in the comments box helping me. I'm joking, man. I'm joking. Top commentator, my buttocks. As there we see Waste going wide, and that's going to allow Johnson to swoop up the inside. Job done from him. Aston Martin moving on through past the black and blue racing of Waste, the 159 McLaren. Waste is struggling at the minute. A reminder as well, not only do we race on SimPlay Motorsport, but the boys, some of them here, likes of Sam Greaves, to remember now, Storrock, Betterson, who else is in that group? Johnson, Waste, Fandango, Williams, and I believe that's the majority on the grid. Are all from the group that is FBR, and they race on a Sunday night, which is the Sunday Shakedown, which is basically copies the SimPlay calendar. They're only 20-minute races, but they are good fun. There's no pit stops, there's no nothing. It's good wheel-to-wheel practice around the circuit. And obviously next on their calendar, which will be this Sunday, is Misano, because next week for us it is Misano. And what a circuit we go to next, the home of the Lamborghini Ferrari and the home of the Italian drivers. Now Duffin tells you to change tyres. How does Duffin tell me to change tyres? He's commentating. Kneebone seriously under pressure now since Flores has gone through. Kneebone's just not been able to go with him. And Gabino now is putting pressure onto the back of Kneebone. Problem KLF's going to have now is he's got Varga coming up behind him. Now he's chosen to obviously get in the clean air, but he's got a very, very fast Benny Varga. Drink. Would it be smart for him to let Varga go and just focus on keeping him close to keep the fight between himself, Kneebone, Flores and Greaves?
We are halfway through. Keep it up.
Because if those guys have also decided to do 1 litre, it's always going to see how that pans out. We've got another car in the pits. That is Smith. Go back to Old Sim Racer and Unsworth, no change there. Kneebone pulled in a gap to Gabino, Kneebone pulling a gap on Gabino. Flores now in P4. But as we're coming up to the halfway stage of this race, or we've just gone past the halfway stage, it's Vitas leading the way with the fastest lap, and he had pole position, so a good race for him so far with Langley. These are your championship contenders, 73 points, and at the minute Vitas not really gaining a lot back on this one. In second place is Langley. Third at the minute is still Sam Greaves, with Flores in P4. Kneebone is now P5, who's made a mistake and has lost out to Old Sim Racer, so now he goes up to 5th. Kneebone in 6th, Unsworth in 7th. Gabino now pits for 8th. Craig now 9th. 10th is Storrock. Betterson from KLF, who's lost out to Varga, who now goes ahead, and it's probably better to let Varga go. Then you got Archer ahead of Argent, ahead of Johnson. Then you got Nuke Waste with Wolfsky and Saunders behind Clarball, Andrew, Smith, Aberdeen, Atherton, Williams, Fandango, Marsden, Bell, Wheel, and Tucker, who's trying to tuck his way out of the track. There goes Varga and KLF, and once again Gabino is in the pits, and it's lost out to KLF and Varga. So this strategy working out lovely as Unsworth goes up the inside of Kneebone. Kneebone losing out another position there to the Ferrari driver. Gabino now gone green. Where is Wolfsky? There he is, and that's his fight. So they've taken either tyres or fuel, and whatever the strategy they've pulled, it's not working. They're not gaining enough time. KLF obviously choosing to stay out on the tyres and just take the 1 litre of fuel. It's then 41 seconds to then KLF, I believe. Oh no, it's not. 6 seconds to then another 9. Gabino's only now going through turn 2. So if it is tyres, it's a lot of time to make up. Can't wait for Misano. I love that track. I will be back for Misano, says Ian Best. Obviously we've got one more night of the Hungaroring. I kind of feel like when we get to the Pro-Am night, I feel like everyone's kind of sick and tired of the circuit that we're testing on. And by the time we get to the pros, everyone's like, right, let's get rid of this circuit and let's move to the next one. So now we got Flores and Kneebone into the pits. Varga and KLF into the final sector. Have these guys come to a stop yet? Here they come. Flores now stops. Here comes Kneebone. And where is Varga? He's in the final corner now, as is KLF. And once again, this is the fight that KLF has been involved in. Has Flores gone green? No, he hasn't, nor has Kneebone. Where is Varga? There he is. There is KLF. And once again, strategy falling into the hands of the 1 litre runners. Pros, take note here, because if I'm telling you the answers now, then, you know, yeah. I think, yeah, this is really going to explain how this race is going to go. There is Kneebone. Where is Wolski? He's only now coming to turn number 1. He's also jumped Flores there, so Flores drops behind Kneebone. And obviously Kneebone was struggling earlier on, so for Wolski and Flores, staying behind Kneebone has not really helped them out either. And with the weight as well, I don't think Kneebone has taken tyres either, so it's going to be harder for them. Betterson now onto the back of Storrock. Langley has just not made any time to Vitas. Vitas, as anything, is just pulled away. He's in the traffic now. Old Sim Racer trying to bring the gap down on Greaves. Maybe use that clean air now. Unsworth's now coming in. So we'll see how that all pans out. KLF just dropped off the back of Varga. I think Varga has taken tyres. Guessing Varga changed tyres where he has lost, or does I miss something? Varga had a long pit stop. He pitted relatively early, but KLF stopped and went again. So even if he took tyres and fuel, he would understand why he dropped further back. But KLF, I know for a fact, only took 1 litre of fuel, and he's well ahead of the rest of the pack. Kneebone's only now coming into the 3rd to last corner, while KLF is going through the final corner. So that's how much of a gap that KLF has, and he's got this train of cars behind him. Has Kneebone, Unsworth in the pit still. Varga goes through turn 1, and so does KLF. He goes through also. So Unsworth not using the advantage. I think it's going to be interesting when Varga gets to Greaves. I think KLF at this moment in time is possibly looking at a P5 position. As it stands, Vitas finally pits. He's in at the 30-minute or 29.5-minute mark. And Langley choosing to carry on. Langley's got a nice gap where he's got no cars in front of him. It just also shows the gap he has to Greaves. Because he's only now into penultimate corner, and Langley's going into turn number 1. Varga now onto the back of Betterson and Storrock, which is not going to help his progress whatsoever. He's going to be held up quite a lot through this sector. Yeah, there is Betterson, and again, he does not have to fight. He can hold off Varga for as long as he possibly can. And again, this is not helping his run either. Betterson goes a little bit wide. The birthday boy going wheel to wheel with the home hero, and Varga cannot get the job done. Oh, he's gone wide. Has Betterson. He's made a mistake. And through goes Varga. But even after all that, Vitas has gone green. He has disappeared, and he has long gone ahead of Varga, who's only now into the final corner. Wolski, drive-through penalty for track limits for Wolski. There is the first loser for that one. Flores was on the back of these guys. He's now dropped off the back. So there's number 1 there, Skunky. You can count that one. Betterson now into the pits. Again, Kneebone just behind now Argent. Kneebone's not making any time on KLF whatsoever. So KLF, I think, has pulled off a brilliant strategy. And I say a brilliant strategy, it's been the obvious strategy, especially for the pros. I think for the Pro-Ams, it's the best one as well. So Wolski straight into the pits for his drive-through. And everyone else just looks a little bit beaten. Clarball minding his own business there. He's up into 19th place position. Obviously had his pit stop done. Now, Vitas is now into the traffic. So, obviously beforehand he had the advantage of blue flags and cars having to get out of his way. Now, he doesn't. He's now in a fight with Craig. And Craig, again, He's had every right to fight for that position if he wants to. And Vitas now is stuck in the traffic. Langley is out. He's got traffic ahead of him, but it's lap traffic. Oh, through goes Varga around the outside of Stork. Stork really not fighting that one. He's choosing not to fight with him. An old sim racer now pits. KLF also looking to try and hunt him down. But Craig now pits. An old sim racer's out of his way. So Vitas has no more lap traffic in his way. He's got clean air. So he's got to put his foot down as Varga into the penultimate corner. Again, for a moment, maybe caught him ever so slightly, but not enough that he needed. And Langley trying his very best, but I just don't think the pace is there. I don't think he's able to get Vitas. I think Vitas is just got this car hooked up around here. Johnson now onto the back of Kneebone once again, and Gabino's there as well. Gabino goes around the outside of Johnson. Sorry, Johnson was a lap down, or was, sorry, they were further down, still not yet to pit. Look at that, old sim racer has cleared his stop, as has Craig. Where is KLF? He's through and done through turn number 1. And again, this is the strategy that is working for him. He's currently P number 3 of the pitters. Sam Greaves and Langley still yet to stop. And I don't think they're going to do anything crazy. I think they've just filled the brim to that car and are just minding their own business, racing, trying to keep it as consistent as they possibly can. Oh, John Andrews has a moment there and just about keeps it together. Marston going through the main straight. He's got Fandango just ahead of him. Argent now clear of the pits. And here we go, Gabino and Kneebone back at it once again. Further back, I think that is Craig going wheel to wheel with a driver. Was it Flores? Yes, it was. And Craig lost out in the end. But Gabino once again onto the back wing of the McLaren of Kneebone. There's a possible opening here going up to the chicane, but he's not far enough alongside. So he's not going to get the job done there. Oh, Gabino hits the curb quite hard. The Lamborghini, I know obviously I've been testing quite heavily, does not like that chicane. If you hit it wrong at any point, then the Lamborghini tends to kind of try and spit you back out, and it's not a pleasant ride, let's just put it that way. So Craig just dropped off the back of Flores now. He's got Luke Saunders breathing down his neck. Stork continuing on through. At the moment, your leader still yet to stop. But Kneebone and Gabino, Kneebone and Gabino still going at it. And in a minute, old sim racer is going to join them. He's obviously not prepared to damage. Out of the way goes Stork. And another drive-through penalty. That is for the 420. That is Marston. That is 2 we've now got. They're coming in thick and fast. Here we go, we're on board with Craig going down to turn number 1. Luke Saunders has got the slipstream, has got the tow, and down towards turn number 1 we go. And Craig tries to get a job done. Saunders misses his braking point by a country mile, and Craig says, thank you very much, I'll come up underneath and I'll take the position back. Saunders looking to come back at him in turn 2, not able to do anything there. Fall in back behind the McLaren once again as Gabino looks to make a run onto the back of Kneebone, but is not quite close enough. Skunky dropping like flies now. There's only 2, so at the minute I'm still winning with 6. So it's only 2 at the minute. You can keep a tally if you want, Skunky. I will trust you, but there's 2 at this moment in time. Smith's a little bit close to Andrews here. Is Andrews going to finally choose to pit? No, he continues on through. Here comes Smith now and tries to get a better exit, doing it for Lexus Industries Racing. It's in the tow. Going to pop out ahead of Johnson, who now comes out of the pits, and Smith missing his brakes. Mike said 2. He's on 2 at the minute, but I think one more is going to happen very soon, and Smith losing out to Andrews and now losing out to Aberdeen. Aberdeen goes past after that mistake, and Saunders still can't find a way past on Craig, who has also caught Flores. And Gabino is still caught onto the back of Kneebone, but he's brought old sim racer with him. Again, 17 seconds is the gap between KLF and Kneebone. So, like I said, it just shows how good a drive KLF had. And there, Old Sim Racer has a look up the inside of Gabino. Keep them drive-throughs coming, says Tippin. And Gabino looked for momentarily to have a run, but he's on the wrong side. He wants to be on the inside of turn 2. He's trying to be later on the brakes. Kneebone gives him space, sees him coming, but is not able to get the run he needed. And again, wrong side of the corner. And Gabino has to fall back into position, but Kneebone's had a poor run through turn 3. Up towards turn 4 we go. Oh, and Kneebone pushing the limits there and enjoying the action. He won't look away. Nice to see Ed enjoying the show. Gabino, meanwhile, still waiting for the mistake to happen from Nebo, but this is it. He can park his car exactly where he needs to. Traffic might help him here. Gabino has caught up to Nebo while the traffic comes through. There's quite a few. Wheel, though, does a great job of getting right out of the way. Good job from him. Gets it clean and allows the leaders to come on through. But there is another train of cars ahead, I think. I think there's another 2 or 3 cars ahead of them. And it's the 64 of Bell. Yes, it is. And then Archer as well, who's actually a car they're racing. Historic now finally pits. I think Archer might tend to pit as well. Yes, he is. Gabino right onto the rear wing of Kneebone as they're now starting to catch onto the back of Bell. Again, what does Greaves do and Langley do at this stage? Langley now going through the final corner. He's about to catch the Kneebone fight, which is just ahead. You see there Langley in the background, the yellow Ferrari, and he's catching a lot of lap traffic. So might be the time to think, right, okay, there's a lot of traffic here. There's a car off in the middle sector. Who is that? It's Tucker. He's had a big moment somewhere. He's trying to get it going and get it back on circuit. Argent's now onto the back of the birthday boy of Betterson, sat currently in P4 in the gold class. That is right, Matt. KLF sat in P5 at this moment in time, and a 17-second gap to Kneebone. And basically, Kneebone is doing all the hard work for KLF right now, because Kneebone is defending heavily from Gabino, who's heavily compromised by the McLaren driver, and they got the Ferrari of Old Sim Racer, Flores, and oh my god, there's cars everywhere. That is Unsworth looking to make a move on Saunders, can't find a way through. So again, cars struggling to find some way of passing around this circuit. Saunders though makes a mistake, and that is enough for Unsworth to go up the inside. Job done, and you can pass around Budapest. Old Sim Racer looked to make a move on the Lamborghini driver, but too much moving around. I think it's going to affect his run. And once again, Kneebone is just putting up the most defensive drive you've ever seen. And there goes Varga into turn 2. KLF into turn 1. We'll see where Sam Greaves and Langley comes out of all of this. But so far, so good. If you are Vitas, controlled the race easily so far. He's now only 8.4 behind Sam Greaves, so Sam Greaves obviously not going to threaten Vitas here tonight. Oh, Gabino nearly hits the back of Kneebone, and Langley finally pulls the trigger. He goes, right, now's the time, as he was catching this group of cars, and he's right, now's the time to pit. Bell's in the middle of all of this fight as well, so, and Bell has his own little fight going on with Will as well, so he doesn't want to give up too much time letting cars through. Well, the fights we've got on here, like I said, Unsworth onto the back of Craig. Looks like he's got a possible opportunity to get through. Betterson is now onto the back of Archer. We've got Argent just behind him as well. And Betterson looking left, looking right. There is Vitas meanwhile, and Langley has done a lot of work there and has brought the gap down to only a couple of seconds. So Vitas and Langley, this is going to be tight. Langley possibly full fueled, no tyres. Vitas half and half, I reckon, because that's a lot of time that Langley has made up. Clean air as well. Vitas with cars that he had to pass and don't get the blue flag privilege. We could see a fight for the race win here. Langley is in sight of Vitas. Meanwhile, what does Sam Greaves do with all this, as Kneebone once again having to defend heavily from Gabino and old Sim Racer. Flores there, and Unsworth just dropped off the back. He's under threat from Craig and Saunders. And we've also still got the Betterson Archer fight as well. We've got Johnson now attacking Aberdeen. So fights are happening left, right and centre. The Audi driver still trying to hold off the Aston Martin of Johnson, who's trying to find a way through. And Saunders now on the back of Craig. And Flores still trying to work his way through this three-way fight. And again, like I said, this gaggle of cars are just massively helping out KLF at the minute. So as they come up to the split times, Kneebone was 17 seconds. What is it now? It's 15.6. And Kelly has made a little mistake possibly somewhere, but it's not enough. It's 16 minutes still to go. They need something massive to happen. Langley, meanwhile, 2.2 behind Vites. He's cleared some traffic that involves some cars racing, which was Archer, Betterson, and Argent. And now Langley has to try and clear that traffic as well. We'll keep an eye on it. 2.2 is the gap. We'll see if it gets any closer for Gabino. Still, it's probably going to get sick to death on the back end of that McLaren. Go on board with Gabino. How much he's been stuck behind that audio sport car. Looking to the inside of the right-hander, but again, Kneebone not wanting to defend clean air. He goes wild because he allows racing room for Gabino, but he just stays to the inside. Gabino sends up the inside. That's a bit of a shove, a bit of a door shove there from Gabino. Kneebone, though, unstable, and I think there's a little bit of a push to pass from there. Gabino, I think, again, a little bit desperate there, but has got the job done. And Kneebone there now under immense pressure straight away from old Sim Racer. Old Sim Racer looking to the inside. They just a close race in there. Kneebone getting close to old Sim Racer. Old Sim Racer once again on the wrong side of the circuit. Kneebone on the right side, just needs to defend the inside, but Flores now looking to go up the inside of old Sim Racer. So old Sim Racer went to the attacker, now the defender, and once again he will be on the right side of the circuit compared to Flores, but he had to touch the brake, and Kneebone lives for a moment, and here comes Flores up the outside of old Sim Racer, and Flores goes through. Drive through for Kneebone. Oh no! After all of that defending, he gets a drive-through. That is number 3. Old Sim Racer's coming back at Flores, looking up the inside of the chicane, but thought better of it. Old Saunders is getting close to the back of Craig. Now Unsworth is joined onto the back of this group of Flores and old Sim Racer. Meanwhile, Vites 1.8 behind Sam Greaves. So Sam struggling at this point of the race as Vites goes around the outside of the lapped car there, and Langley not able to go with him at all. Although he's brought the gap down brilliantly, he's not been able to go with Sam. Varga in P3 at the minute. I think best Kelly could do tonight is possibly a P4. Where's Sam Greaves? He's in the far end of the circuit. We've got a car in pit lane. Oh, and there we go. Old Sim Racer and Unsworth come together with Flores, and they managed to keep all the positions going. And here comes Craig. He goes around the outside, and contact made to old Sim Racer. And Craig comes. Old Sim Racer hits the back of Saunders. Old Sim Racer manages to get going. Who goes? No one's really close enough there. As old Sim Racer gets going, Saunders gets the worst of that. Kneebone has to serve his drive-through. Luckily for him, a little bit of contact between a couple of the drivers is going to save him a little bit, so he'll be able to come and possibly work his way back through the order. But he's going to drop down the order. I think there's Wolski, Stork, so it's going to come out in 13th place position. Yeah, so he's going to come out in 12th is Kneebone. So 12th place in the end. Just pushing the limits a little bit too hard as Sam Greaves now loses the lead to Vitas. I don't think Sam's strategy is working at this moment in time. Your leaders go through. Langley's just behind him as well. And Varga's also made that strategy work. the question is, where is Greaves going to come out compared to KLF? Similar strategy for those two. Gabino now clearing these gaggle of cars. Unsworth now looking to attack Flores. Craig, and after all of that, all the fun racing has come to an end. And it's just between Craig and Unsworth. Unsworth goes through on Craig. So it's Flores and Craig. It's possibly your closest fight. Flores and Unsworth are your closest fight at this moment in time. But with the racing getting a little bit quiet at this stage, with only 12 minutes left to go of this race, gives me a great opportunity to please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and to hit that hit the bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. And like I said, if you do like what you see here and you want to be a part of the action, then head over to the sim grid. Once you're there at the sim grid, type in SimPlay Motorsport. Once you find us, then give us a follow. That'll then give you a link into the Discord. Once you've joined our Discord, then you are able to do your hot stint. Once the hot stints are done, then you are able to be categorized into the correct category, and obviously that's where the bronze, silver, gold and platinum. Obviously tomorrow you'll have Matthew Duffin and Kelly Davis bringing you the action, sweet and sticky in your box, and it will be an interesting night for the pros. A couple of the drivers missing. Tordok sadly has to miss a couple of weeks purely due to the fact that he has broken his hand. He has broken his hand. So yeah, a little bit of damage to him, and he'll miss a couple of races sadly, but it still opens the door to many opportunities for drivers to show what they can do in the pro category. Drivers missing here, Tordok, Meyer and Millington are the only ones so far that have not been able to confirm that they are racing. But still, we've got a lot of the pro drivers still making their attendance. As we now come to the end of this race, and like I said as well, if you want to be a Patreon as well, then have a look at that. It's only £3 a month. That £3 a month goes towards the channel, of course. Kneebone has got past Storrop by the looks of things, and he's now made another position up, or has he lost the position actually? I think he's lost time. So Kneebone really struggling towards the end of this race. You see Unsworth now attacking Flores, going down towards the hairpin, and Greaves has to pit very soon. I think this has kind of been his strategy all season long, go right to the very end. Unsworth not able to get the job done. And if you are a Patreon, like I said, that gives you the opportunity to it gives you opportunity to get your number reserved, priority in sign-ups, picking the season calendar for next season. Unsworth getting close, very close to the back of Flores, but that's giving him an opportunity. Flores makes a mistake and the door opens up for him, and through goes Unsworth. But he goes a little bit deep through the chicane. Flores has to check up, so he's going to come back up the inside of the left-hander. He's going to be close enough, but Unsworth just goes in a little bit deep and keeps hold of the position. Varga, meanwhile, has been trying to bring the gap down to Langley, but is not able to. KLF minding his own business. He's been hunted down by Gabino, but I think Gabino is going to run out of time. And it's when does Greaves finally pull the trigger. It's going to be tight between him and Varga. Very tight. So we'll see how that all pans out. But another great night worth of racing here in the Pro-Am category, and Unsworth already dropping Flores now. And once again, Storrop is just sticking onto the back of Kneebone, and in comes Wolfski as well. So Wolfski caught onto the back of these guys. As we're into the last 8 minutes, 3 minutes left of the pit window. And at this point, I will get driver of the day ready to go. So you get your votes in on driver of the day. Also, last chance for the Hungaroring Cup drivers to get their tickets in if they want any of the stewarding looked at. And I think for me, there's only a handful of drivers I can think of a shout out on this one. Wolski now onto the back of Flores, really giving him a bit of a headache. And there's been definitely a good night's worth of racing. Obviously, next on the calendar for these guys will be Misano. Back to Italy we go. We've been there once already for the Monza round. Is who we're gonna go with, I think, for driver of the day. Yeah. So now we're gonna go with that, I think. If you don't obviously agree with me, then you can put your votes in on the chat as well. Wolski once again getting close, but not close enough. There's the poll for you guys. You can get your votes in on who you think is your driver of the day on that one. Vitas, Langley, Greaves and KLF. Obviously, if you don't agree with any of the ones that I said, then feel free to put your own votes in the chat. But Sam Greaves still yet to stop, and here he comes. It has to be this lap, and in the pits he comes. Langley just about catches him now, and Varga is going into the final sector. KLF, meanwhile, is in the middle sector, so I think Sam Greaves is safe from KLF. It's where he's going to pop out with Varga, who's gone off. Is there a car around him? No, there's not, other than I believe it's, yeah, Argent up ahead. There's the only car around him. Greaves has stopped. It should be 3.2 stop, really, unless he's forgot to turn the tyres off. He has gone down, and Varga's out at the final corner. And I think Varga is going to make it a podium position for himself. Was sat in second, took the tyres, and I think he's lost out to Langley in the end. But Sam Greaves there, losing out to Benny Varga, who now he comes out of the pit lane and drive through there. Number 4 for old Sim Racer, right at the very end. There's 4 now. We've got 40 people currently watching the stream. Guys, please, amazing viewing at the minute. Thank you all for watching, and please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. As yes, we're at 1.02k followers now, but we want more. We need to keep going, and I've gone for KLF. Great drive, says Tips in the chat. A top 5 position indeed for KLF, being the leading bronze driver. Vitas though has looked unbeatable tonight, and no one's been able to really attack him this evening. He's actually caught this gaggle of cars of Nebo, Starrock and Wolski. But Vitas has been leading the way in your silver class, ahead of Langley and Varga, completing the top 3. For bronze, it is KLF leading from Starrock, from Betterson, your top 3 on that one. Archer 4th, 5th for Smith, 6th for Atherton, 7th for Marston, 8th for Andrews, 9th for Bell, 10th for Wheel, and 11th for Tucker in the bronze category. In closer fight at the minute. Well, we got Starrock and Wolski going wheel to wheel, and Starrock rubbing on Wolski there. They get a bit door banging there, and Wolski goes on through, and Starrock drops back. And Flores now trying to hunt down Unsworth, but he's not able to get close enough. Starrock now losing out to Wolski. I think that is all your fights pretty much done and dusted. Yeah, so Sam Greaves 9.5 behind Varga, 90 seconds behind Langley, or a bit more behind Langley actually. He's quite a bit behind Langley. And then KLF rounding out the top 5, gap to Gabino. Gabino has brought the gap down though. They come to the line now. 8.6, so he has come through. KLF can't commentate tomorrow. He's racing in the pro class, says Tips. He can drive for me. He can drive the Lamborghini if he likes. I'll commentate with Matt. Ian Best, I will let you tell Matt. what a night's worth of racing. Argent now having a little moment through the chicane. At the minute, KLF is winning the votes, 10 votes at the minute, and he's won 5 of them. 50% going the way of him at the minute. Guys, get your votes in. 39 of you currently watching, so there's plenty of votes to go around. Obviously, if you don't agree with me, I think it's one of the other drivers, then please feel free to drop the message in the chat. But Varga, home driver, is going to be on the podium at this rate, but Vitas, probably this lap and 1 to go. Doesn't want to back off just yet because Langley is still right there. I think there's no real fights at the minute. Yes, there is. There's Archer versus Argent. Benny Archer, the Australian, hold off, and I know for a fact he is a Patreon, and I know for a fact the one circuit that he would want back. Oh, Argent misses his brakes, hits the back of Archer. Archer slides round, but keeps it facing the right way, luckily. And while this is still going on, Johnson is bringing the gap down to him. So, a little bit of a mistake there from Argent. Archer there just trying to hold off the BMW driver right to the very end as best he possibly can. Wolfsky catching onto the back of Kneebone once again. Stark not too far behind. Craig behind Flores, who's just dropped right off the back of Unsworth. But Vitas now going into the penultimate corner, and this is going to be his final corner to start the final lap here. There you go, Vitas starts his final lap. And what can he do? With the championship fight between himself and Langley, it's coming down to the wire between those two, and I think that's possibly Klarbel and Old Sim Racer. Yes, they're having a fight to the very end. The last lap here between these two, and Klarbel goes a little bit wide. Klarbel's been kind of under the radar tonight, not really seen much of him, but it has kept his nose clean and has put him up into the 14th place position. Old Sim Racer with a drive-through and racing hard with other guys has really put him down the order. Then we've got Argent, who's finally got past Archer, who's Johnson then nabbed him right at the last second there. So Archer flashing the lights there, obviously not particularly happy with one of the drivers, for sure. And there goes Tucker with a drive-through. Tucker with a drive-through, so that's now 5. One more and I win. I think I'll win anyway with that one, with the drive-throughs. So 5 drive-throughs going away for me, and now Skunky owes me 50p. You see there, Carbel and Old Sim Racer still going at the wheel to wheel right to the very end of this race. Wolfsky now onto the back bumper of Kneebone. Where is your race leader? Vitas now coming into the final few corners here. And I think Wolfsky has got the job done on Kneebone. Yes, he is. And Kneebone's going to lose it right on the last sector here, because into the final couple of corners, it's Vitas. He's looked victorious all night long. No one stopped him. No one's able to capitalize on his long pit stop. But in the end, Vitas wins here at the Hungaroring. Congratulations to him, taking the fight to Langley. Langley with a good recovery, first and second for Quantum Motorsport. He'll be happy with that one. Langley takes P2 in that race. And coming home at his home circuit is Varga. Meanwhile, we've got Wolfsky in 11th, Kneebone 12th, Storok in 13th, 14th is Klarbel, 15th is Old Sim Racer, 16th is Betterson. We've had also Bell cross the line and Wheel, but coming to the line at his home circuit, it is the Hungarian himself, possibly hoping for a race win, but a podium will do. It is Benny Varga who finished on the podium for P3. Sam Greaves and 4Q Motorsport continue their point scoring way, and Sam will exit the final corner to score a solid P4 in that one. As there's a car off, that's Archer by the looks of things, that's gone off. Yes, he has, and Aberdeen will go past him. I think Smith is not able to get past him either, but KLF now, the bronze driver, coming home for a solid P5 position, and congratulations to Kelly on that one. Gabino now exits the final corner ran out of time, ran out of laps, could not get Kelly at the end. The 6th place for him. Unsworth now coming home for P7 on that one. A great drive from him. Flores will round out top 8. Craig just behind him in the end, with Luke Saunders now in 10th, going up the inside of Andrews, who are yet to finish. And the rest of the order is Wolfsky from Kneebone, from Storrock, from Clarball, from Old Sim Racer, Bettison, Johnson, Argent, Aberdeen, Archer, Smith, Fandango, Williams, Atherton, Marsden, Andrews, Wheel, Tucker, and that is your order for the Pro-Am category. And what a night's worth of racing. Guys, get your votes in on driver of the day. Any of the guys who finished in the top 3 in both races are able to come and join me in the commentary box for an interview. But what a night's worth of racing. It's been brilliant to watch. How many drive-throughs was it in the end? It was 5 drive-throughs in the end, Tips. So I win that one. I win that one for the amount of drive-throughs. So I've got to win something, I guess. Driver of the day is still open at the minute. I will try and remember to do it at the end. But we do have Langley in the commentary box with us, so we'll get a quick chat with him. First things first, let's make sure I am able to hear him. But great. We're here at the Hungaroring. It's been an interesting night for yourself. The sprint race went brilliantly well with a race win, and obviously race 2, the pace that Vitas had, you just really couldn't challenge him in that feature race, could you?
Man, he was rapid. Like, all props to him. Once I got clean air, he was already 15 seconds ahead. So, yeah, he was able to do what I did in Coda. He pulled away, got tires, and then pulled away again. So, all props to him. He was fast right out the blocks. I could see on the times for the server at the beginning of the week. So I knew he was going to be quick. Almost fluffed up my quali, almost started P12, but glad to be P4, and then glad to get back on the podium. But man, he came out just ahead of me, 2 seconds or so ahead of me. If I could have got that somewhere, would have liked to have a chance to fight him for the win, but it was fun either way. Amazing result in the sprint, so I can't be mad with P2 here. I mean, I got near maximum points for the weekend after the disaster last weekend, so glad to be back in the comms box, Dan. I will say that.
I think that's what most of the guys look forward to, coming in and doing an interview at the end of the night's worth of racing. You know you've done well if you're able to do that. But like I said, it's very much, you knew Vitas had the pace tonight. It's going to, by the looks of things, unless Varga or Fandango or Greaves or any of those guys able to really capitalise on anything, it's looking like a two-way fight between yourself and Vitas. We got circuits where the McLaren and the Ferrari are relatively even pace. But it's damage limitation tonight, wasn't it, really? You know that Vitas was going to be quick. Just tell us how the Ferrari felt in general. You look relatively comfortable out there. Not many mistakes. And what was the track limits like? Were you close to maybe getting a drive-through?
I had 2 warnings, and once I got my second warning, I told myself that's enough. So I just stayed within track limits, whether that meant going slow or not, because I know I had the pace to be P2. I knew my strategy was not taking tires. Yeah, I mean, damage limitation helped in the sprint race, so I could drive well, not super under the limit, but well within my limit in the feature race to just bag a podium. I would have even been happy with P3, even happier with P2. Good racing tonight. Some borderline, but I don't care in the end. I just try to go out, do the best I can. Ferrari felt good, nice and stable. Bumped the TC up a little mid-stint because I knew I was trying to save tires, but other than that, pretty good. Sliding was under control. Understeery for me, but in a good way, because kind of protect the rear tires instead.
Yeah.
So yeah, was a good result, and I'm over the moon with that sprint and then the feature.
Obviously, next week we go to the home of the Ferrari once again. We go to Misano next on the calendar, and your teammate, your new teammate, will finally be able to race with you at Misano as well. What are you able to do there? I know it's the home ground of the Ferrari. I've known in the past it should be relatively good around there. So, what are your feelings on the circuit?
I'm not a big fan of corners that have rapid direction change, and Mazzano doesn't have really any of those. So maybe one, maybe two. Other than that, it's smooth, easy, long corners, fast corners. I like those kind of corners. So I think the Ferrari will feel good around there, even though I guess the Ferrari is one of the better cars in low-speed corners. I like it more in mid to high speed actually, as you can see from Kota. Kota was probably my most complete feature race of the year, and I like those high corners because I can be smoother on my steering with controller. So excited for next weekend. Glad to actually finish the race this time. Told my friend in the party, Kneebone, I was like, yeah, my mindset actually flipped back to what it was the first race, and the first race was just finish first, because everyone knows the saying to finish first you must finish. Yep. So glad, I mean, ecstatic to have that turnaround after last weekend's disaster. So yeah, and congrats to Vitas, absolutely masterclass full pace this weekend, and as well as Varga. I was hoping I would get to battle you a little bit. Unfortunately, we didn't. But usually, whenever I'm in the comms box, he's here with me, and so that's a nice. And last weekend was a disaster for both of us. So I guess wherever we finish, we're always right next to each other somehow. So yeah, congrats on another great podium for him in this feature.
That was his home race as well. But nonetheless, Langley, congratulations on the second place and the first place as well in the sprint.
Appreciate that. Glad to be back.
As we now look to the homeboy, the home favourite here, Benny Varga, back at home. It's been a while since we raced at the Hungaroring. We are back in your stomping ground, and race one couldn't gone any worse than you could expect. But race two, on the other hand, was a bold strategy, a very bold strategy. But in the end, it did get you onto the podium. Just tell us how it feels racing back at the Hungaroring and how the BMW felt in general.
Well, first of all, it was really good to return to this circuit. I absolutely love it, and I must have to love it because after all it's my home track, so it was good to be back. Unfortunately, that was not the strategy I planned for race 2, but I had an overheating rear left tire, and it was flowing with air. I already had 28 PSI, so I was really struggling. It was really oversteery, so I had to pit for new tires, unfortunately. And after that pit, it was much better to drive the car around here. It was still a bit oversteery, but that's just my style, so I could bear it.
Obviously, like I said, race one didn't quite go the way. Strategy didn't play into your hands either tonight. So a bit of a hard workout here at your home circuit a little bit. But either way, it has worked out for you. You have ended up on the podium. Will there be a chance for you to take a race win this season? Obviously, you've been quite close. We got Misano next. Is that somewhere possibly the BMW could really take a chance to slow Vitas and Langley down?
Well, I think it's from the start from the season there was always the chance for me to win. It's in the air, but I have to jump a bit higher to catch it, you know. This race was not possible to win, unfortunately. Vitas was just a monster, and he had a really great pace, so congrats to him. And also to Langley, like I said before, we somehow always end up together here on the podium, and when we're not, we're just not, so it's good to be back here after the disaster of last weekend, so yeah.
And a quick
I'm really happy, And I'm hoping for another top 3 finish next week at Misano.
What's your opinions on Misano? Do you like it? Do you hate it?
Well, actually, I kinda like the layout. It's flowing quite well, and I always liked driving there. I know it's a bit strange for someone to like that circuit, but I'm kinda okay with it. So I'm hoping for a good result there.
Hey, I'm a massive fan of bike circuits as well. I tend to enjoy going on them. So, nonetheless, mate, congratulations on the podium at your home circuit, and
Thank you.
best of luck next week at Misano.
Thank you, and I appreciate it, and it feels good to finally finish in the top 3 at the Hungaroring, so I enjoy it.
Congratulations, mate. And now we move on to Sam Greaves. And Sam, another night worth of racing for yourself in the Lexus, a circuit that I definitely thought was going to be a car that was going to be a struggle for you this evening, but race 1 and race 2 kind of put my mouth shut very quickly, but nonetheless, a fantastic drive for yourself in race 1 and in race 2. And just tell us, how was the Lexus feeling in general, because it did look like a bit of a handful in the mid part of the circuit.
Yeah, it's horrid, Dan, to be perfectly honest, mate. You just can't turn the thing in the slow corners, and you can't hold on to it in the quicker ones. It's absolutely awful. I got really lucky in race 1, to be fair, that I had cars crashing off right and left, and it just opened up like the Red Sea, and I just went straight through the middle. I felt a bit like Moses, to be fair. Ended up in a pretty good position, and then it was just a case of pitting at the right time and defending. I couldn't keep Langley behind, unfortunately. Just him, Vitas and Vargo, they had so much more pace than me today. It was unbelievable. And then race 2, actually got a really good start, got into second. Benny, a really good move from him, really clean, very nicely timed, really used that BMW traction that I just couldn't match in the Lexus.
Yeah.
And yeah, a little bit dicey with Langley, to be fair, to lose that position. I was a little bit disappointed with that one, to be honest, but and then I actually made a mistake, had a bit of a spin and hit the sausage curb going through the chicane. Cost me 10 seconds. Otherwise, I would have actually come out in front of Varga with 5 minutes to go, and that would have been very interesting, to say the least. So kind of blew it myself, to be honest. It could have been another podium in race 2, but it was just desperately trying to keep the car on the track and see what we could do. But it wasn't comfortable at all for any of the 85 minutes that we raced tonight. It was horrible.
Obviously, for majority of this season, your teammate Fandango has been literally top of the table, has been scoring all the points, and yourself has been in a recovery drive ever since. Possibly all the best circuits for the Lexus has probably gone.
Yeah.
We're now into the tight, twisty sections, the bike tracks, the flowing circuits. We've still got Valencia. Snetterton is probably another circuit where it might be good. I think there's a couple others where it could have possibilities. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head when I drove the Donkey. But Donington, yeah, another great circuit for it there. But it is Misano next, which again, like I said, is a bike circuit. There is a very long straight, and if you can get in that 6th gear, the thing is an animal. How do you think you'll get on at Misano?
Yeah, I actually like the track. I've never actually driven a Lexus at the track, so it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I don't know why, but I can generally get one decent lap out of a set of tyres, so my qualifying has been much better than expected, even at the tracks that have been a bit tight. I mean, even tonight, I qualified in the top 3, which I got no idea where that lap came from. If I can get it near the front, I'm relatively comfortable hitting the apexes and defending, so it's going to be up to everybody else to get past me, a little bit like it was in Barcelona, to be fair. I blew that race. I should have won Barcelona last week. It's tough to overtake that Lexus. If I can keep them behind me on the twisty stuff, they've got no chance on the straight. So I'm relatively confident. I like Misano. It's a good track. We'll see how it goes. But you're right. The rest of the season looks tough. When I look at places like Snetterton, oh my God, it gives me nightmares, to be honest. So we'll see how it goes. But I think we still got a lead in the team championship. That's the one that we're after. I missed a couple of races, which is why I'm a bit behind on Bex. So hopefully I can make every other race now to the end of the season, and I'll kind of get those 2 that I missed back on my drop scores. So I just need to make sure that every week is a reasonable week at least.
Well, you are now up into 3rd in the championship behind Vitus and Langley, so you are kind of back in the groove. But nonetheless, mate, congratulations on the podium this evening, and obviously best of luck for Misano next week.
Yeah, no problem at all. We'll be fine as long as there's plenty of straight corners. We'll be all right.
Which there is one long one there, so you should be fine. Nonetheless, congratulations, mate.
Cheers, Dan.
And that is it for tonight for the Pro-Ams. The championship standings does look like this, though. After tonight's race, it is Langley leading the way ahead of Vitus in 2nd, with Greaves in 3rd. P4 was Flores with Fandango in P5, Varga P6 with Nebo in P7, Wolfsky in P8 with Unsworth P9, and Old Sim Racer in P10, Richie in P11 with Craig P12, Gabino in 13th with Aberdeen in 14th, Saunders now in 15th with Taylor and Argent 16th and 17th place position, Lee into 18th with Johnson in 19th, the block in 20th, Krabel in 21st, Waste in 22nd with Smith 23rd, Bolton 24th with Williams now 25th, 26th is Archer with KLF in 27, Bell in 28th, Betterton 29th, Storick 30th with Williams 31st, Tucker 32nd, Wheel 33rd, Atherton 34th, Best 35th, Marshall 36th, Goodwill 37th, Marston 38th, Dempsey 39th, Andrews in 40th, and Roy in 41st, with Dean Wasaki bringing up the rear. Regarding the teams, it is still 4Q Motorsport, but it's ebbing and flowing between themselves and No Gas No Glory. 84 points as they go into Misano, with Cloud9 another 165 points behind, with Team Audio Sport now in P4. Greasy Bandits are hunting them down in P5, while in P6 it's close between SimPlay Racing and NLR Racing in P7, with Team Murloc P8. P9 is Soldor Racing with 2Cs Motorsport in 10th. Black and Blue Racing in 11th. 12th is Lexi Industries Racing. OWR Racing in 13th, Quantum Motorsport in 14th, slowly working their way back up the order, with Team GBR in 15th. 16th is Rapid Rabbits GT, Team BSR in 17th, ahead of OGR Racing in 18th, and Wasaki Racing bringing up the rear. I've been Dan Davis. This has been the Pro-Am drivers this evening, and tomorrow night with all the action will be the Pro category with your sweet and sticky in your box. 19 votes meanwhile going driver of the days between Vitus and KLF. And I don't want to sound favoritism, but I think KLF has driven very well. So with that 20th and final vote, KLF wins driver of the day, and a fantastic night's worth of racing. Awesome to watch in the end. But it is the Pro turn tomorrow night who will take the top spot. O'Reilly and Williams have been looking phenomenal throughout the season, and no Tordock now to complete the season. Will Silth or myself, Ben Rook, Clouden, O'Reilly, Skunky, any of those guys take the advantage while they possibly can. Oza there also in the championship, and Hooper as well. Many of those drivers could take the opportunity while they are gone. But for myself and everyone else here at SimPlay Motorsport, we shall see you all at Misano in a week's time. Good night.